welcome to the Steel Grizzlies channel. Today we're looking into a game that focuses on the Hindu mythology with Raji, an ancient epic. We follow Raji, a young woman, along with her little brother Golu, who has been taken captive by demons. Raji traverses the world encountering a wide range of enemies. This game was developed by Notting Head Games. It should be mentioned that this is their first game. Now that we know what it's about, let's dive into whether you should get this game for yourself. The environment is beautifully crafted. The design, from the open world to the way they tell the story. The way the tan background comes alive with the black silhouettes, like you're watching a children's story play out in front of you. To the open worlds with picturesque plains, to grandiose palaces and wide open deserts. All this wraps up a well thought out world that can immerse you into this land. As you explore each level, the story plays out for you with wonderfully designed murals, or a circular mural you have to align just right to get more of Raji's past. The bold colors direct you to watch for more details. While playing, you are discussed about by two different gods, the warrior goddess, Mother Durga, and Vishnu. Their audio bringing you further into this game. I mean, listen here.
All their power focused into one body, gifted with all their weapons. I wonder what your first thoughts were.
Their narration helps to guide you in what you need to do next, and also drops pieces of the story letting you know what the past has done to get you to this moment. Before I dive too much into their narration, since that is mainly understory, I do want to say their voice acting was top notch. It made me want to fight my way to the next area just so I could find out more about what was going on around me. The gameplay in Raji is a pretty simple affair at the start. You learn simple buttons to press as you get your initial weapon, the Trishul, a staff-like weapon bestowed on you from Durga. When moving throughout the land, you'll find demons that will attack you in various areas. When they do, you'll notice a circle will pop up and you cannot exit for the life of you. Believe me, I tried. Here in this circle, ring, you will fight your battles against a varying type of enemies. Stab, dodge, twist, and use your acrobatic skills as you fight the enemies. There isn't much in the way of a heads-up display. Instead, you watch as Raji is encircled with her own ring. This is her health, much like the enemies you will see that depleted when attacked or injured. The spear you start out with is a great tool, but I felt like it was severely lacking. It's as the game progresses and you find new weapons that you really get to enjoy the combat mechanics. You'll acquire a bow, a sword and shield, and a boomerang-style projectile. When you collect each, you can pull up a menu to see each weapon. Here you can add a variety of elemental attacks like fire, ice, and lightning. You can upgrade and change what you want to use throughout the game, which for me was a big plus when using specific weapons more. You'll find each weapon has its own use. The Trishul is best when fighting against enemies in tight spaces, while the bow gives you that breath of fresh air, letting you fight enemies at a distance. For me, I was definitely dodging and button mashing when I started, but later on you'll see specific enemies require more finesse. Here is where you will use Raji's parkour moves like running up walls to leap backward and land a devastating attack. This is fun at first, but after a while it feels like a rinse and repeat type mechanic. Just run up the wall, slam down, and do it again. Swap to your bow for those enemies far away, and back to your Trishul for closer enemies. You get the idea, it does tend to repeat a lot. So I was incredibly grateful for when you fight one of the 3 bosses throughout the game, which in the end turned out to be another dodge, roll, stab, and repeat style fight. Sadly for me, it really hurt the game. Raji is an acrobat, so along with a decent-ish fighting, you will find yourself platforming. You can find yourself tossing flowers to make lily pads you can spring across, cause oh yeah, you can't swim. Besides that, you'll find yourself leaping up walls, which sometimes I found to be a bit finicky. I had to press down hard for her to jump just a little further, but after a few tries, you'll find yourself hopping and leaping along to the next area. Just make sure you don't throw that controller at those, stressful parts. Raji's story is a simple one in that you start with Raji searching for her brother Golu. It's a pretty linear story after that. Once you get to the end of one area, it pushes you towards the next. No real exploring is to be had. For me, what saves Raji is the story and depth of the Hindu mythology. Throughout each level, you'll find murals or hear the gods talking about your progress. This is what leads you to the next area, learning about the demon Mahishasura taking over the heavens. I'll say that 3 times fast. Then having Durga defeat him in the typical Eastern Indian style. Hearing this discussion for me helped me to understand more about the mythos of this world. Some of the murals don't really pertain to the narrative of the story itself, but it does provide further insight to someone like me who knows next to nothing about Hindu mythology. This, for me, only helped to get me further into the style of this game, learning about the buffalo demon and finding out what is going on. If you don't mind a linear plot while you carve your way through demons and listening to 2 gods discuss whether choosing you was a good idea or not, then I say it's worth it. Oops, did I just spoil my own thoughts on the game? Well, let's get right to those. My thoughts are just this. The game itself is a great little game. Has an awesome Hindu mythos to introduce those who may not know that story. Typical dodging style gameplay mixed with a beautiful environment. It's a short game, but once you end, you'll probably feel like me, wondering, was that it? Due to some issues with the game, I have to give it a 7 out of 10. Yes, it was the first game from the studio. While it wasn't a knock out of the park, it definitely left an impression on me. I say buy it if you wait for a sale for a few reasons. The linear story helped somewhat, but took away from the option of exploring such a beautiful setup environment that they created. 2. The combat became repetitive. 3. The platforming was lacking. 4. The story itself was very anticlimactic. The way it ends, it feels like they wanted to push out a sequel. So if you don't mind those issues and want to find a visually engaging game that introduces Hindu gods and goddesses, I say go get it. I hope you enjoyed my Raji and Ancient Epic review. If you enjoyed my video, please leave a like and a comment below on what you liked about this video. Or if you have any other games that you'd like me to check out. If you'd like to help support the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button. This is the Still Grizzly, wishing you luck with all your future games.